fuel economy? Well, I doubt this will be the official transport at the next Greenpeace annual conference. All I'll say is they thought it best to fit 2 fuel tanks. You change over using this switch up here.
Then he discovered that Whitby Jet is actually this.
It looks like coal.
It is coal.
Is it?
Thing is, though, they've worked out, obviously, you can't burn coal anymore because Al Gore goes nuts and a polar bear falls over. So they polish it up and then say it's precious. Now, you ready for this? The Americans have announced their green car of the year.
Oh, good, it'll be a Toyota Prius. So
It isn't.
Electric thing?
It's a Prius Toyota.
No.
It's going to be a Prius, so...
It isn't. I've got a photograph of it here. There you go.
That's not a Prius.
No, that's
Whoa.
a 6-litre V8 Chevy Tahoe.
That's a green car
I'm
of the year.
absolutely not joking. No, it's a hybrid. They put a tiny, weeny little electric motor in it somewhere. There you are, that's a hybrid. And they've fallen for it. Does 21 miles to the gallon.
That's green.
It is very green. I'd say the good cars for me, Lexus. Particularly, actually, the GS, the one in the middle.
I'm with you.
The hybrid one, though. No, this one, OK? This looks like a normal car. Great thing is, OK, its batteries will only take you less than a mile, which means most of the time you're on the V6. You know, you're chewing fuel, you're warming the world up, everybody's happy, OK? It's very quiet, it's very fast, it's very, very comfortable. And, of course, you can drive it to London, do U-turns on Piccadilly all day long. Ken Livingstone can't charge you a penny. Brilliant car, that. It's a properly brilliant car, that. I'm going to put, like, a little 9-volt battery in a Hummer. It's a hybrid. Do you know how many vice presidents have subsequently made it to president?
2.
3. No.
85.
7. We're going to be here a long time if you do that.
If you know the answer, then we won't be.
No, I do know the answer.
Well, it's up to you how long we spend here, then.
Well, no, because if you're going to go 2, 3, 4, we have to wait till you get to 14, then I go, well done, Paul.
14.
14.
Yeah. Really?
Al Gore was vice president, and then, of course, he went on to be a twat, but that's...
Is that largely on his views on the environment, Jeremy?
I'm not entirely certain everyone here in this part of London's with me on that one, so we'll brush it off.
What are your views on the environment, Jeremy?
Not the same as everybody's here. Well, I mean, if he's right, I'm out of a job.
We're out of a planet.
Former presidential candidate Al Gore launched a scathing attack on President Bush this week. He said Bush leads a renegade band of right-wing enthusiasts. Fair enough. There's been a gross and excessive power grab by Bush-friendly business interests. Can't argue with that. And pollution could literally end civilization. Hippie lunatic. And so, that is pretty much the end of the show. Looking at the bus lane. No, still nothing going on there. I think next week we won't bother doing anything to do with the environment. In fact, I think we might kick a couple of barn owls to death just for fun. That's the noise of 631 brake horsepower and about 1 million gallons of torque. I wouldn't be at all surprised to find that death sounds a bit like this. The standard car produces 103 bhp. This produces, nobody knows, 1 million, could be more. All we know is the Stig is primed and ready.
It's called the Rough, and the normal 3.3-litre turbo engine has been enlarged to 3.4 litres, which doesn't sound like much. But then it has a brace of turbos, which give about 11 million brake horsepower. And that sounds like a lot.
Any faults with your car? Any faults with yours?
No, and did you know in the whole history of TVR there is no recorded incident of one ever breaking down?
I've heard that. Well done, Mr. Mole Husband, you're off. Oh my God! I hate this quad!
This Honda has a single-cylinder 450cc engine that makes 1,000 million horsepower, and it's faster than light. The power is instantaneous. Watch! Ah!
This has a top speed, and I know this because I've done it, of 1 million miles an hour. 1 million!
Yes,
Yes, but look at the field. That is ruined.
Yes, and we did that in just one day. And there are eco-mentalists who will tell you that that will take about 25,000 years to recover.
Because of our damage.
Because of our damage. So, the second most amazing thing about it is the price. I sort of thought it would be $1 million billion, but actually, it's only 134,000, kind of Ferrari money. Partly that's down to the 1 million horsepower 3.8 litre twin-turbo V6. This is just pure panto. You can just tell it was built purely for fun. Look what I've got. 1 billion miles of blue sky over my head. The bellow of that 570 horsepower V10 is what you get in the bump. It says here, Crossfire has an aerodynamically limited top speed of 155. All cars are limited by their aerodynamics. If there were no air, a mini metro would go 1 million miles an hour.
That's why space rockets are so fast.
Exactly.
It might be the newest team on the F1 grid with a huge budget, but their Avensis is the oldest car here. It's also ugly. And worst of all, it's endlessly reliable, so you'll have to suffer millions of boring miles in it before it'll have the decency to lie down and die.
To play the real Laguna Seca, you have to go to California, where you'll discover a death-dealing blend of G-force and tortured tyres. This is the most fearsome track in North America, largely because of one corner, the Corkscrew. I've driven around the Corkscrew a million times, electronically, and I just can't believe how steep it is. Right, I'm up to 18 million pieces of glass. Look at another fold, there you go, 18 million and 2, 3. Why do they call this stuff safety glass? I mean, it isn't. Why can't it just break into 4 pieces? Why does it have to break into 19 million pieces? And it goes everywhere. You break it, you can be in bed and it's outside your house and it goes in your pyjamas. 18 million and 10. And across the line. Yeah, got the time here. You're going to be pleased by this. You're going to be pleased. Because it did it in 1 minute, 16.4. No, I'm lying. It actually did it in 1:33.5. So it's a little bit faster than a Golf GTI, but a lot worse.
Styling's better.
Shut up. What it does mean, though, is that the C2's big wheels and wheel arches, its translucent Sexaid gear lever, the trillion-watt stereo, all of it will be ripped out and replaced with the next generation of modifications. It's hard to say how much power the GTR develops because each engine, as I said last week, is hand-built, and each one is therefore a little bit different. They put 1 million horsepower in this one because the acceleration is just blistering. It's just... The problem the Humvee has is that it only has 325 brake horsepower, okay, from its 6-litre engine, but it weighs more than 4 tons. It's just not enough. Then you've got the Escalade, all right, 400 brake horsepower, but still weighs 1 billion tons. Whereas I've got the supercharged 4.2-litre V8 out of a Jaguar. Even more ingenious, turning my Vespa into a Mississippi-style paddle steamer. Now, as it turned out, my simple plan was very difficult because the Vespa weighs 940,000 tons. So I've needed 4 canoes full of foam. The main problem, though, is that with cracked ribs, I couldn't operate the kickstart. 19.2. 1 minute 31 seconds is where it did it. So, James, can we now stop doing small, simple hatchbacks in the power tests?
You can, yeah.
Good, thank you. You are sacked. Welcome to the Pagani Zonda, an Italian supercar which is huge and modern. So you'd expect it to weigh about 400 million tons. So that it doesn't, it's made of carbon fibre and other materials which simply weren't on the periodic table 30 years ago.
begins to emerge. Listen to that CV joint. Damn him and his stupid aquarium which weighs 1,800 tons. The impact that I had there was pretty severe. My ankle burst where the clutch pedal went through it. My head was dislodged from the spine. And really we've ended up with a Top Gear top tip. If you are a lorryist and you are going to have an accident, there's a choice of something to hit. Avoid anything with bricks in it.
Yeah, always swerve and go for the big pile of mineral water.
Yes, that's a safer bet.
Anyway, look.
But the winner, with an incredible 5 miles to the gallon, is the Audi R8. So here's a Top Gear top tip. If you've been affected by the fuel crisis, this is the supercar to buy.
This is the one then, this is the winner.
That's it, that's the very one.
So this really is a Top Gear top tip, let's be honest, because if you're going to play conkers with your caravan, which is better than hitching it up to the back of a car and getting in everyone's way, let's be honest, this is the one to go for. What is it?
This is an Abbey GT.
4-berth.
Yes.
With separate shower cubicle.
Okay, there you have it. Here's a Top Gear top tip. Rent one of these, 35 quid a day. For someone you don't like very much, cut their car in half.
No, which was that a very, very large pickup turned up, full of heavily armed and very burly men, told us to get off their street.
Yes. So really, we do have 2 Top Gear top tips for you tonight. One, yes, you can buy rather than rent. And 2, don't go to America. One of the top 5 worst cars I've ever driven, Volkswagen Golf GT. Yeah. No, seriously, it's got a supercharged and a turbocharged engine, which is as smooth as falling downstairs while wearing leg calipers. Basically, honestly, just work harder and buy the Golf GTI. There's a Top Gear top tip.
Good advice.
Looking a bit smug, but I don't think you ran out of petrol, did you?
No, what actually happened was a complete and catastrophic failure of all the engine electrics. All of them gone.
Yeah. So, therefore, this is
This is useless as our cars, in fact.
absolutely. But no matter, we did end up with a Top Gear top tip, OK? Yes, you can buy a supercar for less than £10,000, but for the love of God, don't.
Astra convertible from Vauxhall, they say it's been built from the ground up as a convertible.
How do you design it from not the ground up? If you start from the top, you might start here and then it would be too low, you'd never get it in. If you're designing a car, here's a tip, always start from the bottom.
That's a Top Gear
And
top
don't
tip.
start too near the left-hand side of the paper, otherwise I think you'll end up with a really ugly back. I think, how much is it?
£17,000, goes on sale in spring.
Swimming pool.
But you ruined it, you ruined the pool, you ruined their day.
I also ruined my suit.
Yes, probably.
It's about this big now.
Oh, can I borrow that?
Yeah, we can salvage something
Not
from
an
this.
entirely wasted day.
Yeah.
No, what we have got here, though, is actually a very good Top Gear top tip, which is, if you want us to open something, ring Alan Titchmarsh.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'm a fool, I'm the nitwit here.
Car good,
Okay,
you bad.
good. We do arrive at a Top Gear top tip out of all of this, which is that if you only have £1,500 to spend on your coupe, buy Japanese. Doesn't matter what it is, but go Japanese.
And then, crucially, leave it alone.
So they've built it to compete with the Fiat Brava and the Toyota Starlet. Both of which are cars that aren't built anymore.
So they're competing with cars that were
I
out
was
of
confident
date.
of winning this competition. And it's just... if you see what those coming, run. They are absolutely awful.
Are they going to be sold in Britain?
Well, certainly in bits of Europe, they'll cost about £3,000, all of which you will lose the moment you take the whole lot.
Yeah.
Worthless.
Top Gear top tip, avoid.
But it is beautiful. Look.
And do you know what he said? As I got out of the car, do you want to go get a pint?
Oh, good. Good point.
Believe it. So there we are. We have a Top Gear top tip for you. If you live in Greenwich and you work in Buckingham Palace and you're looking for a new way of getting to work, run.
Nearly won.
So he cleared none.
None at all. But it was fun.
Fine, and there was a serious message in there. Really, a very serious health and safety message. If you're an ice cream van driver, you see some bouncy castles, for heaven's sake, get out of your van before jumping on them.
No, absolutely. If you stay in, there is a very real danger that you could be seriously killed to death.
Top Gear top tip there. Anyway, we must... So were you killed to death then?
No, I wasn't, but I did prove that if you do live in, I don't know, that thunderstorm valley in Oklahoma and you crash into a substation in your car, everything's going to be fine.
Good, another Top Gear top tip there,
Yes.
very useful. Let's do the cool wall, shall we?
Yeah.
I think
3 years, they might be keeping them for 4 years or 5 years. That means that usual supply of 3-year-old mainstream cars has dried up. Short supply, firmer prices. The Top Gear top tip, if you want something like that, don't buy it now. But if anybody here's got a 3-year-old Toyota RAV4 they want to get rid of, I know a bloke who'll have your arm off.
Time to sell it is now. Good. OK, what else?
Sports cars. Now, you'd expect us to say on Top Gear, it's coming up to summer, don't go and buy a convertible sports car because everybody else wants one, the prices go up.
Yeah.
Here's a Top Gear top tip. It's not true.
My brother, this weekend, burnt his finger on a hot kebab skewer at a barbecue. And, well, he had the same system on his computer. Locked him out of his laptop. Put his finger on it, didn't recognise it, all burnt, couldn't get in.
So if it had an Audi A8...
Well, it'd have been locked out.
Well, there's another Top Gear top tip right there. If you've got a kitchen, put your food in there, particularly for Australian. Don't do it over coal in the garden.
Yes,
No, he's right, actually. This is a very, very straightforward lifestyle choice, I think. You either embrace the modern world and the Audi A8, or you live like a medieval tramp.
Well, you know, you can't really have fun on the roads anymore, you know. There are too many speed cameras, there's a civil servant in a van in every bush. So, we've got a tip. Don't buy a Ferrari, buy a Field.
And it's raining. Oh! Ouch. Yes, now, you see, that was a bad plan. Here's a tip. If you've got a Ferrari 612, don't take your wipers up, because you're going to break them.
Oh, my...
Come on, that is how you test a vehicle.
Here's a tip. Change gear before you get to a corner.
The lamb, sadly, is overcooked, so 2,000 revs for 2 hours is far too long.
That's the problem, you see. We cooked it on a 4-speed car. Here's a tip. If you're cooking lamb, make sure it's 5-speed, preferably 6-speed. OK.
What's the top speed of that thing, James, do you reckon?
What, 90 miles an hour?
Well, here is a top tip for Hollywood heroes. If you're being chased by a car which is slower than the car you're in, simply drive faster than it.
Hey, now, we've got some important consumer news for everybody. When you go into a car showroom now, the salesman will try to sell you lots of electronic bits and bobs for your car. Here's our Top Gear top tip. Don't bother with any of them, because they don't work, any of them.
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth
never works.
It doesn't.
Does it?
Hammond uses it, and it's like he's sitting at the bottom of a river.
Yeah, well, to be fair, sometimes I am.
We need to stop it, OK? We need to stop it, because the advantages are huge, because if you get rid of magpies, you have more songbirds, so the air sounds nicer. You know, you've got tits and... Why did I say tits? Sparrows. You've got sparrows and all that sort of thing, and that would be brilliant. Plus, we don't have to do that, and that'll make the roads safer. So there we are, Top Gear top tip. Kill all magpies, and kill them now.
I had to, I had to drive down the street and back.
And that's the
Window
test.
down, he had the reggae on, it was like,
That's the test in the Virgin Islands.
Exactly.
So there's a top tip for anybody who's finding it a struggle to get a driving licence here. Pop over there.
Slip over there.
So